I can feel so much grief. I can just, it's been right there. Predominantly yesterday and today. I know we're moving into a Capricorn full moon, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. It's like right there. It's right there. It's like a sneeze that won't just come out. I've been so close to crying and can't force it, obviously, wanting it to just happen. Just these waves of pain, sadness, grief. It's just a deep grief. That's the best word I have for it. It just hurts. But I want it. I want it to come through. I want it to happen. I want it to be felt. I want to experience it. I don't care where it's coming from. I don't need to know. I'm tired of fucking trying to know. The mind is so tricky. It will do anything and everything to keep you out of the present moment. Whatever it is that you think you're looking for, some sort of relief, some knowledge, some understanding, it'll tell you either you had it in the past and you lost it, or you gotta look to someplace else and go find it again. Eventually you'll find it if you keep thinking, keep looking, keep focusing your attention elsewhere, outside of yourself or into the mental space, which has the same result. I just feel dizzy. I feel disoriented. I feel fuzzy. I feel there's a hopelessness attached. And this is, there is no connection to anything even happening outside of me. This is just here. It's just there. And I don't know, I'm hesitant to even connect it to world events and collective reactions. I don't know that it feels like it's just been there a long time. Like it's just this pile of hopelessness, it's really heavy, and I know it's something I've felt many times. And I know I certainly felt it plenty of times over the past 2 years. I don't even remember, year and a half, whenever I started this shit. I know I felt it many times. And I know that there were many times that I sat with this camera on and said, I just feel like I don't want to be here. And it's not connected. Again, it's like things are good. There isn't, and there was never anything wrong. There is nothing wrong, and I know that that's a universal truth too. There is no wrong. There's never anything wrong. Nothing bad has ever happened. Not to me, not to anybody. There's no such thing. Things have happened. Things, and they haven't happened to anyone either. Form has shifted. It's changed. Experiences have occurred. And I've had predominantly really pleasant experiences in my recent history. So, it's just, I think that's what is so frustrating and sticky and tricky and pervasive about this sensation. I'm going to pause this for a second so that I can respond to a text message. So I actually feel a bit calmer now. I was able to cry a little bit and express. Sometimes I can just let things flow more easily through a written word. It can be a challenge to step back enough to let what I'm thinking and feeling come through the voice and be verbally, audibly articulated. There's just something about writing that makes it easier. But I also know how powerful it is to speak, to let things be expressed in this way. There's a different sensation to it, and it is powerful and transformative and comforting. If only just the vibrations of the voice box, that's a comforting thing. But I'm just realizing that there is this whole created thing, this whole, the suffering self, the depressed self, the dark and craving of annihilation, this deep, depressed, nihilistic identity that wants to suffer, that wants to be destroyed. It wants to be destroyed. And it isn't me. It isn't me. It's in there. It's in there, and I can feel it. It wants my identification with it, and has had it for a long time. It's had it. But I can see, I can feel that this is all a show. That it's, it really craves the drama. And I know that's a recurring theme for me. Drama, seriousness, heaviness. It just wants everything to be so serious, and it wants things to be meaningless and pointless, and it just wants to end. It wants to end it all. That is this identity that has been with me, that I have associated myself with, identified myself with for a long, long time. Maybe more than this lifetime, I don't know. And when it comes on so strong, it's Now I just feel the need to rock. Self-soothing thing. And maybe it's been there since I was a kid. I mean, it definitely has, I know, since age 11 that I can pinpoint it specifically there. When my grandmother passed away, that was the defined start of depression for me. I feel like it could have been there longer, certainly. And it's, you know, it's come and gone, it's flared up, it's sort of made its existence known, and then it's waned, kind of ebbed into the background. But it's been there, it's been in there. It's just because it's a story that I have told and have reinforced and had reinforced by other people, and that's not any sort of blame or judgment. That's just what it is. This is how we talk about these things, and I'm not going to say that's a bad thing either, that it's wrong. This is, you know, our understanding of the human psyche has been beneficial for many reasons, but I also feel very strongly that it has impeded the development, the evolution of consciousness, because we've become obsessed with the mind. We've become obsessed with the mind as the seat of self. We think that we are the mind, and that the things that it produces, every projection of the mind, every thought, and the emotions that are created in the body as a response to thought, we think that that's ourself. And then we start analyzing this false self and trying to change it, trying to fix it, trying to understand it, when it's a red herring. It's a totally wild goose chase. It's off the track. It's not who we are. And if we could just realize that that is not who I am, and all of these stories about myself are not myself. They're not even about, they're about a character. This is a mind-created character that has had its existence reinforced by obsessively repeated thought and emotion cycles, and all of that energy fed into it. It's taken on a sort of presence. It's an imitative presence. It's an artificial presence. It's not organic, but it's taken on a sort of life of its own because of all of this organic energy fed into it that it's then held on to. And so it has its own sort of consciousness. It's not exactly consciousness. It's very limited. It's primitive. It's like artificial intelligence. It knows just enough to know that it wants to keep existing. That's it. And I've identified with it for so long, and I know many people have. There's a collective version of this, and I wonder sometimes if it's not a collective thing, really, that is poking its tendrils in, and it's, you know, it's infected. I don't know how to describe this, and I don't want to use language that's too derogatory either, because my intention is not to criticize or diminish or judge negatively this experience, because that only adds to it. That's how it got started in the first place. I want to integrate it. I want to show it love. I want to give it a chance to experience something other than pain and depression. I want it to have the opportunity to feel loved, to feel the joy of receiving love. That's what I want. That's what I want. And that's what I want to offer it in this moment, is not rejection and not resistance and not disgust and not banishment. I want to say, I love you, and I see that this has been your mode of existence This is all you have ever known. And I understand. I understand that. This is how you came to be. This is how you learned to survive. And all you are doing is surviving. But I want to show you that you don't have to. You don't have to just survive. You don't have to siphon energy in this negative way. You could, in fact, shift. It is possible. I know it's possible. I know there's all of this discussion that positive dissolves negative, and positive energy and love is not digestible by entities, for lack of a better word. This is where the discussion can become very confusing. And anyways, that positive energy is not digestible by thought forms, mentally created artificial life. And so they cease to exist because they can't digest it. But I know it's possible for them to change their diet. And that is a feature of, it's discussed in chaos magic, and maybe that's why I'm so interested in it, is because that was my initial entry point into all of this, was learning about Gnosticism and Hermetics, and specifically chaos magic, and the creation of servitors and guardians and that kind of thing. And that's a far cry from Zen Buddhism and even tantric Buddhism or Hinduism, and becoming one with the self or no self, recognizing that there is no self, that all self is an illusion. It gets to be too fucking much. I was going down that path today, and it just felt so bleak to me. It just felt so empty and nihilistic. That's where that came up, of just, everything being meaningless, and that just doesn't, whether it's true or not, I don't actually care. It doesn't feel good. And I have the choice to believe something that feels good. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Fuck, that's fine. If I'm wrong, then I die and go, oh, I was wrong. There really is nothing. There really is no self, and it's all just whatever, this amorphous, ambiguous field of consciousness. But it's still consciousness. It's still awareness. There's still an I attached to it. Anyways, enough of that. That sent me down this path into this depressive state, where this energy really enveloped me, and I could feel it just wrapping around me and pulling. There's such a gravitational force, there's a suction to it, and I didn't want to fight it. I could feel that it was overwhelming. Fighting it's like quicksand anyway. The more that you resist, the more uncomfortable the experience is. You're sinking anyway, one way or another. And so I wanted to just let it happen, and to feel this. I wanted to feel into it. And there's some space now there. I can still feel it. There is this almost a clenching sensation, the static electricity in the heart space. Earlier it was almost like a gut-wrenching, gut punch type of feeling. And I wanted to cry. I wanted so much to cry. And I finally was able to cry some. I was really struggling to communicate. I felt so overwhelmed, so caught up in the mental space. It just swirling, just this maelstrom that I I just felt miserable, and I couldn't communicate. And it's scary to try to communicate that kind of thing, and I don't think I haven't spoken about this in detail with my partner yet. This feeling that has followed me, that sometimes flares up, of this just desperation for annihilation, that type of thing. That's a scary thing. There's so much shame and judgment around that. That's a scary thing to bring up. But I recognize being afraid of it and judging it internally and not expressing it, that just adds to it, that just gives it more weight, more power. And she knew she could feel that something was going on that I wasn't talking about, and send me a text, and I started to cry reading that text. It opened it up, and I was able to go into that space and put words to it and express what I was feeling, and in the expression of it, moving through it, seeing that, I was saying it feels sometimes like I have talked a lot about getting off the train. If your thought process is a train and you feel like it's a runaway train, then you can get off the train. You don't have to stop it. You don't have to stop the thoughts. You can just stop following them, essentially. But sometimes that feels really hard, and that's what I was saying, is I feel like it's a runaway train and I can't get off of it. I keep trying and I find myself back on it, and it's like there's something that wants to be, like, maybe I want to be on this train, I want to suffer, I want to feel this pain, but then that doesn't feel like me either. And so, and just in that moment, it created this little split, not split, I don't want to call it a split, just a space, a gap. A gap between the observation, the observer, and this identity that wants to suffer. And that was enough room for me to see, really, that it is an identity. It is self-created. It is created by myself, but it is not me. It is not, in fact, who I am. It is an identity, and I do not have to associate with that identity. I don't have to reject it and demonize it either. I don't have to cut it off and kill it. I can just sit here and witness and go, look at what I've created. Look, this is my child. This is my child. I created this. This is born of me. And I'm not going to cast away my child in their suffering, in their angst. I created this, and it is in fact beautiful. It is in fact beautiful in all of the pain, in all of the narrowness. I don't know how else to describe it. There's such a sharp focus there that's impressive, actually. It's a focus on hurt. Yes, it's a focus on darkness, but I can still admire that and appreciate ultimately that this exists, appreciate that this came from me. This came from me. This is my energy that's been put into this. It's of me, and it's not wrong, and it's not shameful, and I don't want to shame it, and I want to tell it, I want to cradle it, I want to hold it in a way that it has never been held, and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not seeing you sooner, my child. I'm sorry for pushing you aside. I want to invite you to the table. I want to give you love. I want you to sit next to me. I want you to come home. And whether you do or not, that's your choice. But I want to invite you to come home in love, in acceptance and reception and welcoming. You who has been fed on a diet of pain and misery and has known only bleakness. I bore you into hell, and I want to commend you. I want to thank you, beautiful creature, for your willingness to go there, to live there. And I want to see that there is nothing wrong with you, and that your existence is beautiful and perfect the way that it is. I want to show you love. I want to give love to this which would be called a demon, this which would be cast off and away and banished, this which I created, this which is only desperate for love, desperate for it. And I want to give it that. And what a gift that is. What a privilege that is for me. And it feels frightened. It feels unsure. But I can tell you it looks so much less dark. It looks so much softer. Just holding it in this light. I just want to love all parts of myself. I don't care about understanding the details of reality and sub-reality and leaving behind dualism. I don't care. I'm tired of all of that. I just want to love all parts of myself. I just want to feel good. I don't care what that means. If I'm trapped in the illusion, then it's an illusion, and I'm doing it consciously. I'm doing it on purpose. All of this is on purpose. All of this is intentional. There's something clearly that we're enjoying, that we're getting out of this. So what? I just want to love. I just want to love because it feels good to me to love. And I want to love all of myself because all of myself deserves that love. And it feels so good to give it to all of me. That's it. I'm a simple creature. I just want to love because it feels good. Because it satisfies me. And I want to love myself. All of it. All of these parts that have been cut off and sent away. I want to call them home and just say, I love you. You are my creation. I know that. You were created from me. And I am grateful for your existence. And you are perfect as you are. That's it. I choose to love you. I do. I love you. I get so lost in all of the understanding and the analysis and the figuring out. I can appreciate those parts of me too. I can appreciate that there are these parts of me that's what they want, you know? Just like there's this part of me that wants to suffer. That's how it was designed. That's what it knows. And so there are these parts of me that work together with the part that wants to suffer. They work together, and they want to keep thinking. They want to analyze. They want to project. They want to judge. They want to figure out. They want to understand. I created those parts too. They are not my essential self. They are not my true self, but they are created from myself, so they're a part of me. And what an amazing thing that is. Look at all of these children that I've had. Look at all of my children. What a happy home to be so full of children. And I want to call them all to the table. I want us to all eat together. This is a big family gathering. And I just want to say how much I love all of you. And how pleased I am with your being. That I could never be anything other than pleased. And you know, maybe that's the real slip, is falling into a warped perspective that believes that I am less than pleased with any part of myself. That too is an identity, is a it's not the true self. That perspective is another creation. And I'm gonna love that too. I'm gonna love that too. Because they're all working together. And they don't have to change. I just want to see them truly. I want to see them clearly. 'Cause here I can appreciate them. I can't really appreciate them when I am being them, when I am identified with them, when I think that we're one and the same. It's only when I am being my true self, which is the creator of these identities, the creator of these many selves, that I can have an appreciation for all of that creation. That I can really see it. I can't see it when I'm all up in it. When I'm wearing the mask, I can't look at it. I have to take it off to be able to look at it and go, ah, look at that. Look what I did. Look at you. Look at you. Yeah. I think that's it. I want to pull cards. I was going to pull cards. Not in this video. Maybe I'll make a separate one, but that's it. I just want to love all myself. And I can do that right now. I give up the rest. I give up anything else. And I accept, this is the piece, I accept that being involved in this illusion in this way means experiencing pain as well as pleasure. I understand that's the part of duality. And, you know, there's the non-dualistic approach that says release pain and release pleasure. And I did that for a little while. And it was very peaceful. It was very peaceful. But you know what? This thing was still there. This thing would still come back and say, I don't want to exist anymore. And there was still this sense of tension. There was still this boredom. And, you know, maybe that's all just, maybe that's the illusion and the mind pulling me back in. But you know what? I created those things. I created this illusion. I created the mind. I created ego. Those are my creations too. Those are my children too. Why am I going to reject them? Why am I going to tell them that there's something wrong with them? Why am I going to ignore them? Are they not deserving of my love? I created them. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to, exactly what they were created to. And I think instead of dropping, and maybe this is sort of the difference between Zen and Tantric approach, instead of dropping the whole coin of pain and pleasure and relinquishing both, maybe I really fully embrace both in a way that reveals pain to be pleasure. Maybe I realize that I actually want and enjoy a lot of pain. All pain. And so it's all ultimately pleasure. So instead of just nothing and being free from any intense experience whatsoever, maybe I just embrace the intensity. You know, I go back and forth on this. Because I was just remembering a video that I made about accepting that you'll never be happy. Accepting. And I still feel resonance with that, because happy is this definition. You will never be happy in the way that your brain wants you to be happy, because your brain's definition of happiness is something that's never here, actually. It's always out there. It's always in the future or the past. It's always somewhere outside the moment, and you'll never reach that. And if you give up trying to be happy by that definition, if you just accept you'll never reach that, you are rerouted to the now, where joy actually is, where peace and all of the pleasant experience actually is. And I still feel that. I still feel that very much. But I feel like there's more. You know, I feel like I don't have to reject pleasure. I don't have to reject pleasurable experiences. I don't have to reject painful experiences. Like, just now. And I could feel that grief was something that I wanted. I could feel that suffering was something that I wanted. And it's not even suffering. It's only suffering when it's resisted. Calling it in, bringing it close, changes the experience of it. I know this. I've done this time and time again, and every single time it blows my mind. Every time it blows me away. That I'm able to actually do it, to invite that through fully, and to say just yes to this experience. Yes, happen. There's pleasure in it. There's pleasure in that pain. And it becomes so much easier to invite space, too, to create space. It's like calling it closer actually gives it space somehow, gives it space to breathe. because I am space, and by calling it in, I'm calling it into my space, and I become that space without even really trying. As I am inviting it in to flow, I become the space that it is flowing through, and it just happens naturally. And then as I become the space, I gain this little bit of distance and awareness and greater perspective, and I can see it more clearly. And I see it as something that is not me, but it is created from me, and I don't feel as attached to it. It's amazing. And it seems like I just have to go through this every time I forget. Apparently, every time I forget, there's no step-by-step like procedure that I can just go, oh yeah, here's what I do. I'm feeling this, so I do this, this, and this, and then it moves through, because that's not how it works. That's not how it works. If you're trying with the intention of moving this energy through, then it gets stuck. It's like it knows your intention isn't pure. And when your intention isn't purely to experience this, to just let it be experienced, if your focus is already on the after, on the outcome, I'm going to experience it to let it move through so that I then feel better, then it doesn't work. You're not actually doing it. You're resisting it. It must be the pure intention of experience. I just want to feel this. I just want to feel this fully. I'm not trying to do anything else. My mind is not anywhere else. I'm not focused on anything else. Just letting this happen right now. Letting this be felt right now. Feeling it, calling it in, saying yes, come in, come closer, come through me. Let me feel you. And then it all just unfolds naturally. And it's incredible. Then there is no try, there's no efforting, there's nothing you have to do, there's no thought to it. It just happens. It's just a matter of calling this in and showing it love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I love you. I see that you are a perfect creation, and I love you. And that's it. And you're just in it, experiencing it because you want to be. And it's beautiful. The experience itself is beautiful. The natural result of it is that energy moves through and it transmutes as much as it's gonna, quite a lot of it. Maybe all of it, maybe just a little piece. And it becomes lighter. And the next time, maybe it comes through and it's lighter the next time. Maybe it comes through and the next time it's brought friends. It's gathered up a little bit more, and so it actually is bigger. Doesn't matter. It's amazing. And then again, it's just the experience. You have the opportunity to experience it, to feel it. And it is just a matter of saying, wow, I get to feel. I get to invite this guest in. I get to feel this. Please come in. Please come in. Not come through and then I'm pushing you out. Come in. Come in. Come in, make yourself comfortable. Feel. Let me feel you fully. Tell me everything. I want to hear everything. And I'm going to love. I have the opportunity to love. What a gift. What a wonderful experience that is, and I want that experience, and I want it again and again. Come in, so I get to love you. I get to hear you, I get to listen to you, I get to witness you, I get to love you. Beautiful. And that's it. That's it. That's alchemy. That's transmutation. If your goal is transmutation, then it's not going to happen. If your intention is just to be with it, is just to listen, then magic will occur. That's where the magic is. If you're trying to make magic, if you are trying to transmute, it gets stuck. It doesn't work. But if you're just choosing to feel, to be really present and really focused with the sensation for the sake of feeling it, for the sake of experiencing it, you're not thinking of anything else. You are here with your house guest, and your house guest has your full attention. That's inviting it in fully. And then that is really, that's the magic, is having that experience, that deep connection with this sensation, with this emotion, seeing it as a part of you, something that was born from you. It's not you, but it came from you. How incredible is that? How incredible is that? This is not me, but it came from me. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But it was born, it was created by me. And so it is of my energy. That's my energy in there. Walking and talking and doing its own thing. How incredible. How can you feel anything other than love for that? That's remarkable. That is a miracle. And then you're being gifted with the experience of viewing this part of yourself, this thing that was born from you, as the miracle that it is. It just naturally softens. It naturally, it's like it sprouts wings, you know? Because you're just loving it. You're loving it. You're seeing it as miraculous. And it is. It is. And then you're just peeling off the layers that were maybe obscuring, hiding the miraculous nature of this. Oh, I wish I could remember this better. Maybe I don't. I guess there's a part of me that really just doesn't, that really enjoys rediscovering this over and over. And then there's the part of me that's like, God, I wish I could just make this such a habit, such a process, but then it wouldn't be mindful, would it? It wouldn't be so intentional. It wouldn't be so present. So it can't be. It's got to just be spontaneous in the moment as it happens. And it's new every time. It's new every time. And every time it's fucking amazing. That's it. That's all I got. This is way longer than I expected. Oh well. I love you. Love your demons. They are your angels. Your little angels. And that's all they want. And what an amazing thing it is to feel that love for them. I love you. Always and in all ways. Take it easy.